Welcome to the Beauty in Battle podcast, where we talk about winning in marriage by waging a war. I'm Jason Benham. I've got my girlfriend/wife, Tori Benham, with me, and we are here to talk to you about how Satan tries to get you to fight face-to-face with your spouse, but God designed you to fight shoulder-to-shoulder against Satan so that you can win in your marriage. Fighting together draws you together. We cannot wait to jump in, so here we go. All right, we're pumped. We are pumped about our podcast today. We are with some very good friends of ours, Nathan and Tamsey Smith. And Nathan are you an executive pastor?
That's what they call
the
me.
Refuge Church?
Yeah, they call me other things, but yes, yeah.
He's an executive pastor at the church that we attend, the Refuge Church. His wife, Tamsey, you're a Reebok-sponsored athlete, right?
I am.
That is big time.
It is big time.
How do you get Reebok sponsored? You got to be like in really good shape.
You have to work hard.
Yeah. I love it.
But they're a power couple, and Tori and I were having lunch with them a couple of weeks ago, and just sitting there with them at the famous Toastery in Concord.
Thank
and
you,
if we
Lord.
ever take you to the famous Toastery in Concord, you have arrived.
That's right.
We felt it.
It's our favorite place.
We felt, yeah, it's a good thing.
Get the Cobb salad, throw a little sunny side up egg and some ranch dressing, and it's a party in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yep. And
It was
I
fun
just-
watching you eat it. I mean, it was entertaining. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was great. So.
What little time it took, right?
That was the thing. It was impressive.
He inhales.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I got blood work the other day, and one of the doctors was telling me what you really need to do is slow down in how you eat. And so the other day, Tori was watching me eat. She reached over and grabbed my arm and said, "Slow down. It's not going anywhere." I'm like, oh, it feels like it's going somewhere.
Yeah. I was like, I'm starving.
So back to Nathan and Tamsey.
Amen.
We're sitting there having lunch with them, and just the way that they were communicating with each other, the way that they were just around each other and holding hands and doing all the stuff. What I really recognized about them was something in them that I wanted you guys as our listeners to hear their story, to hear just from a perspective of Nathan's a pastor. She's got her own business. Are you doing personal training?
Personal training.
Yes. And you've got how many little ones? When I say
We
little
have
ones,
3, and
They're
they are
not-
not little anymore.
Not so little ones. Yeah. Yeah.
what are their ages?
18, 16, 13.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. You guys are almost empty nesters.
Yes.
Which is weird to
even
even
close.
think about. Yes. I
You're
felt
almost
that too.
grandparents.
I felt that when you said that. I was like, all right,
We
well,
haven't really thought about that.
yeah. I was like, well, Lord, is that okay?
Y'all are old. Okay. But anyway, I wanted to just get on and have Nathan and Tamsey on. We want to have a great conversation with you guys to where you can share just some things that'll help us all in marriage.
Yeah.
What you
How
guys
long
have
have y'all
helped me
been
to work.
married?
22 years.
22 years. You're just ahead of us.
22 years.
That's awesome.
We have a standing joke every anniversary where we go, like, for instance, this year, man, 22 years. Can you believe it? 18 of the greatest years of our life. You know? So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, it was only your first 4 that was rough.
Well,
it was our first 5.
For sure.
Tori, okay, so Tori,
Before we get started, we got to start with some jokes,
let's
right?
do it.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got a joke from Luca Zavala. Is that how you say
Oh,
his last
JJ Zavala's
Yeah, his
kid.
son.
Okay, Luca.
Yep, Luca. Luca is the best. He sends us the best jokes. What do you call a lost wolf?
Hmm.
I have no idea.
A werewolf. Where?
Oh.
Got it.
I love
Got
it.
you,
Well
Luca.
played.
So good. Okay, one more. Kim Vincent sent me a bunch of them, but I'm going to give you the one that I like.
That's great.
Why did the bicycle fall down?
Why?
2 tires.
What? I didn't follow that.
tired?
Too tired. I thought you said 2 tires.
I did because, like, it's
Yeah.
a joke.
Too tired.
Because it's a joke, Jason.
I get
Can
it.
you please get with the program?
Thank you, Luca.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kim. Powerful.
Powerful jokes.
Okay. Hey, I wanna jump in and talk with you guys. So Nathan, Tamsey, who wants to go first? This will show how good your relationship is.
Yeah.
Nathan always wants to go first.
Yes.
Right, I always want to go
That's the
first,
same in
but
our
then I have to lay my life down. You know, that's really just how humble. So
I love it.
That's great. So Nathan, let's do that.
Yeah.
Since you're the pastor, you're always on stage.
God help us.
Where did you guys meet? Tell us a little bit about your background and story, and then let's just get in and start talking about marriage.
Yeah.
There's a lot of couples out there that listen to this, and
awesome.
how can we encourage them?
Well, let me just say as we start this, thank you for the privilege of getting to be on the podcast and really just getting to hang out in all truth. It's just a blast and so excited about it. Tamsey and I met the summer or right as junior year started in high school.
Yep.
I grew up moving a good bit. My dad's a Methodist pastor, so my middle name is Wesley, so I'm in it for life, right? That's the way that works.
No choice.
Yeah. And so moving around, and we got, I came to the area that she lived, and really, it's funny, my little sister met her at a thing that summer. I was working at a music store.
Both of your sisters and your mom.
Okay. I just remember Allison talking to me. Okay. So they're like, hey, we met this great girl named Tamsey, right?
Okay.
And so like everybody does, like Tammy? No, Tamsey, like, oh, okay. And you ought to meet her. Okay, great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was literally my introduction. I had not even met her yet. My family's telling me about this girl they met.
It's always a good sign if your family likes her.
Yeah, that was a good thing. And so then we became friends in high school. We had a period in our junior year, fifth period, where we were like office aides.
Yep. Oh, wow.
So it was just literally the two of us, almost like a table like this.
Yeah.
We would sit there, and if they needed something, the counselors needed something, we'd run and do whatever. Otherwise, we sat and chatted, and we became really good friends.
But you never played footsies or anything like that?
No.
No.
Okay.
Well, he had a girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
You jerk.
What are you supposed to do?
I'm not sure if he was trying to leave that out or not.
There was no ring on the finger.
Amen.
Got it.
And so anyway, through that process, we became really good friends. And the other relationship, which was a long distance relationship, ended.
Okay.
And then probably 5 or 6 months later, we started dating, went to our junior prom together.
Oh. So you have the pictures to that still?
We do.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
And then
so
it got
cool.
really sappy after that. I mean,
it gets worse, guys.
It gets worse.
It gets worse.
do you want to take it from there? I mean, it's really deplorable.
So our senior year, we continued to date, and we were voted class president and vice president. He
Oh
was
my
president, I was
goodness.
vice president.
Okay.
And then we also went on to be prom king and
Oh my
queen.
goodness.
I told you. I tried to warn you.
That is,
No, it's disgusting.
that's epic Americana.
It's disgusting. Yeah.
That's so great.
yeah.
So we had no choice but
Yeah.
to get married.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you kind of thought, well,
You were nominated.
sure.
yeah, that's we got voted in to marriage.
You guys are like Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
Look, don't you ever say that to my face again. Okay, no.
Sorry.
Yeah, but we've really literally been together since our junior year of high school.
Yeah, high school
Wow.
sweethearts.
We got married.
my
We were 20
goodness.
years old. Both of us were 20 years old.
That's
And
so great.
How were the first few years of marriage?
Yeah, they were hard.
absolutely.
They required a lot of us because we actually moved from our hometown. We moved about an hour and a half away to help start a church.
Okay.
Before we got married.
Oh, wow.
We both felt called to help start this church, and so we moved down.
Not together.
We didn't live together.
Good
We
Just
lived
wanted
in
to clarify.
separate
Got it.
apartments. But we helped start a church. We got engaged. We got married, and so our first few years married was building a church, helping build
wow.
a church. He was the worship pastor. I was in school full time, driving an hour one way to and from school. I went to University of West Florida, and so it was stressful. And I was working quite a lot as well. So it was stressful. We hardly ever saw each other.
Yeah.
Wow.
We bought a house within the first year and a half of being married.
On an island.
On an island.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was
Wow.
a stressful few years. So,
What did you do? How'd you stay together?
oh my gosh, we prayed. We laid we prayed
Cried a lot.
We cried
Prayed.
a lot. Honestly, yeah. And I guess within the first 3 years of us being married, we actually felt the Lord calling us to lay down our position at that church and move away to we didn't know what.
Okay.
Like the call of Abraham kind of thing, calling you to a land and you don't know what what you're getting called to, So there was a lot of prayer, a lot of tears, a lot of meetings.
So no kids at this point.
No kids,
Okay.
no kids. But that's a fun story too. The week we turned in our resignation, we found out we were pregnant with our first child.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, after. So I turned in my resignation. We really feel like, okay, God has spoken. It's time for us to lay this down. He's going to show us what to do. I'm thinking, man, we're being so sweet. We're honoring Jesus.
Right.
30 days. We're just going to have a vacation. God's going to show us.
Yeah.
We find out a week later we're pregnant.
Wow.
Then it's like 60 days. Then it's like, okay, well, if this keeps going, we can't keep our house. Like we're really in trouble, you know? And so we sold our house and moved in with her parents.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
And in all truth, that's ultimately how we ended up in North Carolina.
Okay.
Yep.
Because Pastor Jay Stewart was a pastor in South Alabama at that time.
Okay.
And too many stories to tell, but we connected. And through that journey, I set up a meeting with him to say, hey, I know you see me around. I know you knew I was part of this church plant at the beach and all these crazy cool things happen. And I was traveling doing music, playing with Big Daddy Weave. You know, Mike was my roommate and we were doing all kinds of fun stuff. But I was like, I just needed to meet with you and let you know I look like a loser, but I'm not one. You know, like that was literally
Looks are deceiving.
they are deceiving. You know,
Tamsey didn't marry a loser.
yeah. Although there's a lot of evidence at this point that it seems that way, and all of that, I just said I feel like I don't know if the Lord's trying to kill me or what the deal is, but I thought being obedient, like all these doors were open, and nothing happened, and I'm like, oh, we're in big trouble, and so anyway, that. The Lord used that, what I thought would be 30 days, ended up being a year.
Whoa.
And that's where in meeting Jay, we began to pray and talk about coming here, right?
Wow.
So that's how we ended up in North Carolina. That's the short version.
Hey, can I pause your story just
Would
for
you
1 second?
please?
Okay, so you were married for how long at this point?
3.5.
3.5
Okay,
years.
so 3.5 years. Tori and I have a lot of friends, it seems. We've gotten invited to a lot of weddings lately. You just preached at one.
Yeah.
Nathan, there's a lot of young couples that either listen to this or one of the spouses listen to this podcast. What would you tell them? First 3.5 years, you guys had a lot of transition. You said you had a lot of tears going on at the same time. So
man.
obviously you were arguing or butting heads about something.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Can you guys get practical with us on maybe what an argument was and some practical things that helped you during that time to make it to where you're 22 years married?
Yeah.
But they need to hear something.
And so much stress in your life
Can
that
you make
plays
it?
into it so much.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. It was giant.
Well, let me just say, looking back on it now, the wisdom that I've gained is minimize your stressors.
Oh, that's good.
Minimize your
so good.
stressors. You know, it's enough to just be married.
Yes.
Like just focus on that, you know, just focus on each other and build in time for each other. That was one of our mistakes that if I could go back and change, I would.
That's
That
good advice.
we did not build in time for each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Yep.
just kept trucking right along.
Doing good things.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
we
even
were-
though you didn't
Yep.
have kids,
Right.
Yeah.
you still were just busy doing good things.
Building a church. She's finishing her degree.
Yeah.
You know, we bought a house. We're renovating it, and we have zero skill in this department. You know.
we did that.
Oh man. And so that was like all these stressors.
Yeah. Yeah. And very little time considering when am I going to spend time with my spouse? When am I going to invest in this relationship? We just didn't have that amount of wisdom to know that we need. We just thought, you know, we're in love.
Yeah.
So that's enough, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Tamsey, if you could go back in that first 3.5 years, and when you said spend more time together, what would you have done different?
Build in a date night.
Of course, yes. That's
Every
great.
week, build in a date night. Have dinner
So
together.
good.
Look each other in the eyes.
Yep. That's
over your plate at the table. Talk about your day. Pray together. Pray together. Pray together.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things we've implemented later on in our marriage that I wish we had done earlier. I'm talking about a lot of regrets. I'm sorry.
No, that's
No,
good.
this is it's
We
real
all
life.
start
Where we
there.
started.
though.
That's real life.
But we are diligent now and intentional to set a prayer time almost every day.
Yeah.
We pray together, and that single act has unified us like nothing else.
No question.
Like nothing else. Like when we pray together, there's just this unity.
Wow.
And if there's something that we're in disunity about, that prayer time forces us to face that issue.
Wow.
Good.
And come together on it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
good.
No, it's a game
And you guys
changer.
are praying together now. How do you do that? Like, do you do it in the morning? Do you do it at night? Do you
Yeah.
do it at both?
Morning mostly.
We're both morning people.
Okay.
We like to get up and get the day started pretty
That worked
early.
out well.
Yeah.
We decided to be morning people. There was a point in our marriage when we were both like, we're going to be morning people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we
It was-
decided.
Yeah, it wasn't a natural bend.
No, it
was
wasn't.
a choice.
Not
Yeah.
for
It
me
is true.
either. Especially
Was that
once
after
I-
kids?
After kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After kids.
Right, that's the only time.
If we
can
want to have time together, if we want to have time for ourselves, it's going to have to be early in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yep.
So you guys, when you wake up in the morning, this is hyper practical
Love it.
for our folks.
Go for it.
When you wake up in the morning, do you both like individually read the Bible together? Or so what did I say? Individually read the Bible
together.
on your
I
own?
was appreciating that. I thought that was really powerful. Yeah.
Does that really
Tell
make
us how
sense?
you individually do it together.
Yeah, let's break that down in the Greek. Yeah.
It's miraculous, actually.
That was great. So, but you individually read the Bible?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then you come together and pray together?
Yeah.
Or do you also have your own private time of prayer and then you come together?
Yeah.
And then how long do you pray together?
All of that. Depends on how much time we have each morning, but
30-ish
yeah.
in the
That's
30-minute
good.
department.
Awesome.
10, 15, 30, sometimes 10 minutes, but
Yeah.
a lot of times.
Yeah, true. As little as, I wouldn't
Yeah.
say less than 10 though.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
takes us that long just to like pray for our kids.
Yeah.
That is so
Like,
good.
Yeah.
I love that. When Jason and I, when we walked away from having lunch with y'all, we both were like, I just feel like they're for each other.
Yeah.
You know, like
Oh,
you
man.
just, sometimes you
What a
you just
compliment.
get that sense from a couple, like, wow, they're just for each other. Like
Yeah,
they're in each
that's-
other's corner. And
That's a lot.
I remember several months ago, Jason and I kind of got into this series, and I'm kind of scared to say this out loud, but This Is Us.
Okay, yeah.
So there are some that are not really appropriate, and there are some that we didn't watch. I have to put that caveat in.
Put it in there.
Love
But
a disclaimer.
we actually started it like mid season 2 or something. So we like kind of
Yeah.
skipped over what somebody had told us that we should skip over. Anyways, we got into This Is Us, and there's this one thing that they get right is family. Like they just get relationships right, which is
Yeah.
really rare
Yeah,
on
yeah.
television. And there was this one episode where the daughter and the mom are at odds, which like you kind of, if you've seen This Is Us, it goes back from their childhood to present day.
Okay.
And so
she's married.
she's
The
now
daughter is
married, and this and they're always going back. So you can see there's always been this conflict between mom and daughter, which is often the case in a lot of relationships and in a lot of families. And so the mom is really trying. She's like really trying to get her daughter back, and she's trying to make up for lost time. And so but the daughter is just, she's kind of like just ultra sensitive because of past hurts, right, from childhood. And she's with her husband, and you can tell like she's being overly sensitive. Like if you're watching the thing, you're like, wow, just give your mom a break. And especially me as a mom, I'm like, she's trying so hard. Please give her a break.
That's right.
And she's just not giving her an inch. She's just like very, very sensitive. And so the mom goes to the husband when she walks out, when the daughter walks out of the room, and she goes, I'm trying so hard. Like what am I doing wrong? I'm trying so hard. Tell me I'm not doing anything wrong. Tell me I'm not crazy. And he just pauses and he goes, listen, and the daughter's name is Kate. He goes, I'm team Kate.
It's like,
And he's
I don't
just
know
so
about
simple.
all that
He's like,
background stuff.
you guys have some things to work through. I understand that. I will say, I will agree that she is very sensitive right now, but I'm not going to go any further because I'm team Kate.
So good.
Wow.
And I was like, that is so good. I
Yeah.
love that so much. But I feel like that with you guys. Like
Oh,
you're
man.
team Tamsey.
Yeah.
You are team Nathan.
Yeah.
And I think that's rare. And I think that it's so like, I think that's where we need to be in relationships where we can be like, no matter what, I'm team Jason.
And I
Yeah.
think that what you just said is part of your secret sauce, which is I was wanting to get you guys on here, throw a microphone in your face so we can get some of your secret sauce. Praying together like that.
Yeah.
Unifies.
Granted, when you're young and you're just married and the husband is real busy and he's got his thing and the wife's real busy, she's got her
Yep.
things. It might not be 30 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
But it might be 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And
But to
consistent.
just get together. Yeah, there you go.
Man.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's
There you
huge.
go.
So
Like just implement that if you will just start at all.
yes.
Yeah.
If you just, and we're morning people, that may not suit everybody.
Right.
But even if you just decide, like there was a season where we're like, we're not going to go to sleep until we give each other a kiss.
Oh, that's good.
Like we're just not going to do that, right? That was a time. So what? Maybe for someone in the evening, it's like we're better. Well, then before you go to bed, like 2 minutes, grab hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just commit to that.
Yes.
You can always build it later.
Yes.
2 minute kiss.
Praise the Lord. You know what I'm saying? We could implement that.
She's like,
Is
I
that
like
God?
that.
How does that
really
God? I don't
like
know.
that.
Lord, is that?
So long as you wash your beard with Pantene Pro V. Put some Pantene Pro V.
I
in
love
there.
it. I love it. Then come back. That's
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's
But
actually not a bad pointer there.
There you go.
I gotta to
Got
the
it.
store real
Tamsey
quick.
like that one.
Yeah. I'd like to rebuke all of you right now. But I think it's so awesome, Tori, that you would say that about us because, and I think we both would say this, I won't speak for you, but I would say there was a time we weren't as much for one another.
There
Wow.
was definitely a
It
time.
was a lot more, fighting face to face than back to back,
Yep.
and, a lot of that was rooted in just, I think what so many couples face is that, well, your problem is you're just not like me. And if you would just
Right, yeah.
wise up, learn some things in life and become more like me, our marriage would be great,
Right. I can fix you.
Yeah. And just listen. Why aren't you not listening? I'm giving all this amazing insight.
Yeah.
And we definitely did all of that. We did all of that, and tried to conform one another and took our strengths and pitted them against each other as opposed to getting back to back and realizing, man, the gift that our whole family, not just me, but our kids have in the skills, talents, natural abilities, the way God wired Tamsey, we are very different. Like we are, just the way we're wired.
Almost polar opposites.
Like literally.
Yeah.
you
On
know?
all the personality tests.
Have you ever
man.
taken the Enneagram?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you?
I'm a 1.
Oh, you're a 1.
I am.
Okay,
A 2.
you're a 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
So Nathan, you're the wing.
Jason's a 1.
And that's what's so funny. And in a lot of ways, we are like a traditional role reversal.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
In
in a
so
lot of
many,
ways.
I'm way more the emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Tamsey's way more the steady,
Okay.
right? I'm way more spontaneous. Tamsey's way more, let's stick to the plan,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so in all of that, we had that as a strength, but it was really felt like a challenge for a long time.
Right. Of
Oh,
course.
yeah.
And I think a lot of people that are listening, that may be where they are. They're not realizing, man, the thing that's driving you crazy is often, not always, but often a misplaced strength. You're not realizing it's a strength. You're
Yes.
treating it like a liability,
Yes. Yep.
And that was us for a long time. And the Lord had to help us realize the gift we had in each other.
Wow.
Is there anything specific that pops out, any argument or any fight that you guys had that you can share with us? Because what I want to do is make sure that everyone who's listening to this, who sees a couple like you guys who are wildly in love at 22 years married and everybody wants to get there, but they need to know that you started right where they are.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I love getting into the specifics.
Yeah. I don't know. We've been good.
Tell us. All of it.
I forgive and forget, Jason.
Wow.
I don't.
Can you just,
love it.
do you see how easy it is? This is, guys, this is how you do it.
so
That's right.
lovable.
It's just unbelievable.
I don't know that I would be able to remember a specific either. But-
Well, there's some little, maybe some funny petty things.
Yeah.
Let's do those.
And that's what they always are.
I love it.
It seems like.
Cabinet
Most
doors.
fights, that's what they
Oh.
are.
Oh,
Guys.
Cabinet doors.
who leaves
Okay.
them open?
You leave
me
them
too,
open?
right here. High
Give
five.
her
I mean, it's unbelievable.
And
It's
you're
crazy.
a 1.
I know, isn't that
That's-
weird?
Yeah.
And I'll walk in the door from home and I can't help but see it. I'm not trying to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't not see it.
Yes.
You know?
Doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
No. And I'm like,
Because she's moving on to the next thing. She's always a step ahead.
I'm always
Yes.
ahead.
and that would be an example of what I could not see. So I'm like, that's great. And you should just close the cabinet.
Yeah.
you know?
There's a title in one of our chapters in our book called "Push in Those Drawers."
Would you please, in Jesus' name? You know what I'm saying? That's right.
I actually in the first. We were married for probably 2 months, and I walked in the closet, and the drawers were all open and clothes hanging over them. And I literally, I don't advise any young man to do this, but I said, "Tori, will you come here for just 1 second?" She came
no.
And I said, "I want you to watch how difficult this is."
Oh,
and I took my finger and I pushed the drawer in.
And that was it. That fixed it for me. I was like, never again will I
Wow.
leave a drawer.
What ministry, what insight and leadership. That's right.
It was the perfect solution.
Oh, good.
No, I have done all those and worse at different times. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, okay, I remember the Lord speaking to me about package deals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like the way the Lord interacts with me is very, unique. And so he's like, Nathan, everything comes with fries.
Okay.
That was kind of, and the whole idea being, so you're going to take all these wonderful things
Yeah.
and let this thing
Yep.
be the thing that sinks the day.
Yes.
We can't have fun on date night now. We can't enjoy each other's company anymore.
Yep.
because you don't always remember to close the cabinet. So as an example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just being honest. There was a time when I'm like, absolutely. Like, we need to fight. I mean, this is a problem.
This
you
is
know?
a principle.
Right. It's exactly, it's like, for the love of all that's good in life, you have to, and the Lord just says, hey man, everything is a package deal. And so you're going to let that, what are you going to focus on?
Yeah.
And then the Lord had to show us how to change our focus.
Yes.
And realize, okay, yes, maybe that's something that could be improved upon. And we're picking on you right now, but I got a million. But if it never gets any better,
Yeah.
if it never changes,
Yeah.
man, what I have in the gift of who Tamsey is immeasurable,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So get over yourself.
Reframing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's
true.
it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
That's
Yeah.
so good.
So is that how you got past it? Was reframing it like that?
I think it's a process,
It's
right?
definitely a process.
I would
Yeah.
not in any way, tell people on the podcast that, yeah, man, so you just make that decision and everything's
It's
easy.
all good to go.
Yeah, that's right. Just add water. It's a constant. It's a dying to yourself.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's what it is. It's Ephesians 5, like, man, you got to lay your life down, and it may not go exactly the way you want it
Yes.
to. And what I've found in my life, and you can certainly speak to this, babe, in your own way, but man, the more you're willing to lay it down, back off of it, just let the Lord do it, it either becomes less of an issue, or then there's this thing where you just want to do it for the other person because they're not nagging you to death,
Yes.
as opposed to, okay, God, yeah, I'll do it now, So, they've never said anything about it, and I know it's important to them.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just give it a shot. So who knows? I feel like that could be helpful.
Yeah.
I feel like some of it is choosing what you focus on about your spouse. And he kind of hit on this with the
That's good.
reframing. But, when you remember somebody and you think about them, like, you get to choose if you're going to remember the good things about them or the bad things about them. So which are you going to focus on? And it's the same with the Lord. Like, we can focus on all the good things and remember who he is, or we can say, I lost my loved one, and where were you this, and where were you that? So which side are you going to, he is good, right? The Lord is good. There's no doubt about that. And so if I'll just focus on that and continue to recite that in my mind, that is who he will be to me on a daily basis. Same thing with your spouse. Like, I could focus on all the things he does wrong. And then that's going to be my opinion of him. He does all these things wrong.
If you could even think of one, and that's really the hard part.
I'm having a hard
It takes
time
a
right
while. Yeah.
Difficult.
It's
Except the fact you interrupted her and got her off her point there, Nate.
right. I just was giving as a case example. That's right.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
it's
much.
my ministry.
But you get to choose, how am I going to think about my spouse? When I think about Nathan, what are the things I'm going to think about concerning him? And those things will become big in my mind. He's a great father. He's a great leader. He loves us so well. He lays his life down for us on a daily basis. So he gets this one thing wrong. Well, that's not the thing that's going to destroy my opinion of him, because my opinion of him is already so high because of the things that I am rehearsing in my mind about him,
Wow. I think that is so, so powerful that it starts with your thoughts.
Yeah.
It's the way that you think about your spouse. That's so, so true. That's what we have found too. And we talk about that in the book too.
Yeah.
But I remember when the Lord showed us this was when I began to get very negative on one of our kids. And I began to tell Jason all the bad things.
Yeah.
And that's what was coming out of her, was what I was speaking out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm the problem. My thoughts are so negative. And so we started to go for walks and say all the good things.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So good.
It was so powerful.
And right when you said negative, I heard that thunder clap in the background.
Yes. It was a
Pretty epic.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Just the effort you guys go into putting these podcasts together.
the sound effects
it's incredible.
are on point.
Hey, you guys are giving us some gems. This is really good. I do want to talk real quick about believing in your spouse and the power of believing in your spouse. At what point in your relationship, whichever one you wants to go first, did you, I know I love what Tamsey said in terms of focusing, whatever you decide that you're going to concentrate on.
Yeah.
And I think what we say in the book is if you don't concentrate the right way, then you can very easily criticize what you used to think was cute.
That's so true.
But if you get the right concentration with what,
Yeah.
which is what you were saying, then what you used to criticize, you now believe is cute.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's honestly happened. Like I walk into our closet, and if those drawers are open, which they typically are, I even got self-closed drawers.
That is
Still
next
have
level.
to push them to a degree.
Still have to push. I'm not joking. Only the Holy Spirit can bring transformation where I walk in that closet and I think it's cute. So I've just taken on myself as to be the
huge.
all-time drawer pusher inner.
I love it.
Now I'm still going to push them in.
Absolutely.
I'm just not going to think negatively of her
Yeah.
when I do it.
Yeah.
That is gigantic.
He's assumed that role.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why is that so bad?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And for a long time
That's
it
a good
was,
point.
right? For it was
Right.
so bad for so long. But then you're like, now why am I upset about this?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
But you guys believe in each other.
Amen.
You guys believe in each other. And even when we were having lunch together and we were talking about your thing, and Tamsey was like, yeah, Nathan, he's so good at this. When he was talking about doing your podcast. What's the name of your podcast?
The best view in town.
The Best View in Town.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to be on that podcast.
Oh, you're going to be.
I'm
It's
inviting
already.
myself.
Oh no, you've already been invited.
Been
So
pre-invited already.
yes, yes.
The Best View in Town.
Yeah.
And then Tamsey, she chimed in and said, and he's so good at it. And then you were bragging on her about the stuff that she's doing with personal training and being Reebok sponsored.
She's unreal.
But being able to believe in each other like that. Can we talk to that topic real quick about how powerful that is?
Sure. Let's do it.
She's waiting for you,
Do
Nathan.
you feel like that's something that has come natural for you guys, or is it something that, like, was there kind of a moment where you well, I guess when your thinking changed,
Yeah.
it naturally follows your belief system.
I genuinely believe he's so good at so many things, like it's not hard for me to believe in him because he is so talented. He's such a great speaker, and you guys have attested to that.
Yes. Yeah.
He's a great teacher and a great musician, and like he's the one with the 5 talents, and so it's not hard for me to believe in him. And I feel like it's part of my calling. Like I feel like the Lord has called me to be in his corner, reminding him, hey, don't let these things go to waste. Like you've got so much to offer.
That's good.
So please write the songs, play
Yeah.
the music, go away on a writing retreat, like do the podcast. He's so good at the podcast, so I feel like if I wasn't for him, I wouldn't be honoring the Lord, like I feel like it's God's call on my life to be in his corner and fighting for him and
Good.
So good.
building him up with my words, which is not a natural thing for me. It's not one of my tendencies with words of encouragement, which is one of his top love languages, but it's something that I'm growing at and like really deciding to be, I don't know, grow.
Intentional.
Yeah. Intentional to grow in.
Oh,
So.
I love that.
Man, first of all, I mean, how incredible it is to hear these things. I mean, just thank you. Yeah, it means the world to me.
Yeah.
But I think some of it, for those that are listening, this may be helpful. It really starts with, what do you believe about yourself?
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
I mean, if you have a distorted view of who you are, and I think both of us did, right?
Oh, yeah.
When we first got
Definitely.
married, and we're still, and at 20, we're really young trying to sort some things, but really, you could be in your 50s and still not know who you are. So it's not really an age. It's a revelation from the Lord, and it's a believing what God says about you and just saying amen to it.
yes.
But I think for a long time, I'm a big personality. I like attention, all that kind of stuff. Tamsey was so encouraging towards me in a lot of those things, but then she, and you can correct me, didn't necessarily see a lot of the value in herself and what she was good at. So then when I would want to try to encourage her, it's like she didn't believe me.
Yep.
Oh,
Like it would go into this bucket that had no bottom, and it would just fall through. And I'm like, no, you're great. And she was our valedictorian. She's so smart.
Right. Yeah.
She got these full ride scholarships all over the place.
Yeah.
She's incredibly fit, but she just didn't fully see all that in herself at that time.
Yeah.
So that was hard for me to encourage. I wanted to,
Yeah.
but then I'm, as you can tell, super needy. And so like she, sometimes because maybe words of affirmation wasn't her natural thing,
Yeah.
she wasn't able to offer it a whole lot. And so then instead of thinking of the one time she did encourage me, all I could think of
when she didn't.
is all that she hadn't done, which then when you don't already feel good at something,
Yeah.
being criticized
Yeah.
just makes you retreat, into your shell even more. So we definitely navigated those things.
Yes. Yep.
But as the Lord gave us more of a peace about who we are in God, then, man, that was a huge, that was a process, obviously, but that really changed the game for us in being able to be for one another.
Yep.
Because like she said, maybe words of affirmation wasn't a natural skill set for her. It is for me, but I grew up in Disney World. My parents, to this day, if I come home, my dad's like, "Come here, boy," I'm like, "I've been taller than you since the 7th grade," but I still, it's very affectionate. It's very affirming.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up in.
Yeah.
And so,
I just had the picture of Buddy the Elf.
it was very much that.
So much.
I've never even thought that is my life. That is so true.
Buddy the elf.
Oh man.
Buddy.
Yeah. So the bottom line, I just think it could be, until you have that peace inside yourself and you really know that God is for you.
Yes.
It's hard for you to be for somebody else because you feel like you're working in a deficit.
Yes.
Wow.
And as the Lord helped solidify our identity in Him, it gave us the freedom to say, okay, you need me to be a little more organized and not so. And instead of me seeing that as a challenge against my character, how about I just see that's one more tool I can add to my tool belt, and it would mean something to her.
Wow.
Well, then that's good.
Yeah.
It's not you attacking me and you hate that I'm so spontaneous. No, I love that about you, and I need these things. And when you don't have peace in yourself, everything's an assault on your character.
Yes.
So you just get defensive.
Yeah.
Yep.
So true.
Yeah, we say in our book, before oneness, there's two-ness.
That's
And
it.
Two-ness means you have to be two individuals who know who you are, you understand your identity, you know who you are in Christ. So then you can come together and have true oneness.
Yeah.
That's it.
Tamsey, I want to turn this back to you.
Okay.
Young mom with young kids, I'm sure that probably played into the fact that you had a hard time feeling, like you had self-worth in your own self. Maybe you forgot who you were. I know Tori went through that.
Yeah.
Where moms, they end up having babies, and then the next thing you know, you're not working out like you want to, and
Right.
you got kids all over you, and you kind of forget who you are.
Yeah.
Don't feel good at anything.
Yeah.
How did you make it through that? And did Nathan do anything to help you? And how did you guys make sure that your relationship made it through that tough period?
Yeah, that was a tough few years, but it's so short.
Yes. Yeah.
You
So
think
true.
it's never going to end, and then all of a sudden they're adults,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so it is very, very short. So if moms could kind of put that in perspective, like
Right.
this is going to be over so soon,
Yeah.
and not in a, oh, thank God it'll be over soon, but in a, oh my gosh, you're going to long for these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you will.
So true.
And you will.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I remember when my oldest was in 9th grade, it hit me like, I got 4 more years
Right.
Yeah.
and she's an adult.
Right.
So our arguments really almost went away at that point
Yeah,
because I was like, I'm not going to spend my time fighting with her anymore. And so all that to say, like, just keep it in perspective.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yes, you are called to so much, but in that space of time when your kids are little, you're not going to get that time back. So
Right.
invest as much as you can in them, be famous to them,
Yes.
like be
that's
significant to them.
Yes.
Because they're going to go conquer the world, and once they're out, then it'll be your time, know.
Yes. Yep.
And all that investment in them, I just feel like the Lord just dumps it right back out
Wow.
on you. That's what happened with me. I mean, I felt like I stayed home with our kids until my youngest was 3, so it's been about 10 years I've been working outside the home, and it just happened like boom, like so fast. I was at home with them, just serving them, working hard, crying, some, going for runs for my sanity. Like I
Right.
would go run and just get out and go breathe air just to be sane. And he was very helpful in that. I mean, he would watch the kids so that I could go do that. So in that time period, it was just a lot of investment in the kids and the home and the family. And then once my youngest daughter turned 3, it was like the Lord threw open the doors of opportunity for me to walk out my dream of becoming a fitness instructor and a personal trainer and just being a fitness professional, which I had wanted to do since I was in, my early 20s.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's like, it's an investment period and you will reap what you sow.
Yes.
So
That's so true. So
cents.
good.
And can I just jump in and speak to the husbands in that scenario? Because in that season, and I get it, the privilege you guys do as well, talking with a lot of young couples, I get that same privilege. And like clockwork, and I experienced this myself, in this season, young husbands can feel forgotten and get resentful, resent their wives, resent their kids even, because all of a sudden I went from having her full-time attention and I am needy, as we've established, right? So, and now it's divided, and then with every child, it was divided even more.
Right.
And unless you reframe and realize what we're doing and the beauty of what we're doing, and it's us, it is us doing it.
Yes.
It's not she's got to raise the kids. It's us. We are creating
completely.
a family. When we realize that, and you're able to talk about it and say, hey, I want to do everything I can to make sure you have everything you need with the kids, but I also need some attention and time. What can I do to be part of that solution as opposed to, and I didn't always get this right, so don't even pretend to think that that's, instead of wagging my finger and say, hey, you better step up, because I'm over. I just think it's so important for young families. Hey guys, you're gonna feel, things did change.
That's right.
Don't be surprised. It did change.
Yeah.
But you can be part of that and be proactive in helping, or you can whine.
Yes.
And I whined a lot.
Yeah. This is what I want. How can I help us get there?
How can I help us
love
accomplish
that.
this?
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's really powerful that you actually said something that I think young men should definitely understand. Like, okay, honey, I would like to get to this point.
Yeah.
What can I do to help us get there? And if she's smart, if you're a young mom listening to this, tell him, vacuum the house once a week. Tell him.
Yeah.
And what Tori and I have discovered is that you can use sex as a reward.
Amen.
You can. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I think I always thought that would be so manipulative. You're just always supposed to be available for your spouse. But then we went to, I think we did like a video series a couple years into marriage. And he was like, women use that as a reward system. I'm like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Like God put that in a man.
Right.
Right.
So why there's a purpose for that. So be like, you know what? I'd like to be with you too, but I need you to help me with this, and this.
I've had kids all over me all day long.
I've been spit up on. Let me clean off this.
Give me a 3-hour break.
Right.
Do the dishes, vacuum the floor, and can you bathe the kids and get them ready for bed? And if you're able to do all of that,
come see me. That's right. That's right. That's so good.
Have energy for you.
Yes. But I don't have the energy to just keep going, do everything, and then just somehow miraculously have my mind in that place.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't we put way too much expectation on ourselves, on our spouses? It's impossible.
Yep.
So, man, that's brilliant.
And two, I don't want to go past what Tamsey said, which might have been the most powerful thing I've heard in a long, long time in terms of parenting. Be famous to your kids.
I love that.
Do you know how many people are trying to be Insta famous?
Oh, yeah.
And they're literally leaving their kids in the dust in order for them to go out and get their followers or whatever.
It's so true.
And they're putting likes above those little lives that are in their house.
Yeah.
It is killing me just to watch it.
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody to forget that. So we need to bring you guys back and do something on parenting.
Okay.
Yes.
Because that was really good. Okay, Nathan, you're a pastor. So I know you've always got like a Bible story, Bible verse, or something in terms of something that you share with couples, or anything in terms of your marriage counseling that you would say if a couple's sitting in front of you and they say, okay, Pastor Nathan, what's your one piece of advice that you would give as a pastor to us as a married couple?
Yeah, it's very, very simple. Jesus is our example. He laid his life down.
Yes.
A lot of us are trying to maximize our potential. We're trying to get everything out of everything we have. There is a time and place. There's beauty in that. I got to lay my life down.
That's good.
Some people, and it could be the husband, it could be the wife, you may have to put that dream on hold for a little bit to demonstrate priority to your family. You may, I've had opportunities, and not that I've done this perfect, and I don't think Tamsey would say she has either. I've had opportunities to pursue things that would really light me on fire from a ambition standpoint, but it would have undercut what we were trying to accomplish in our family.
Wow.
And so the gospel is he laid his life down.
Yep.
So don't be surprised. Don't be shocked that to do this well, you're going to have to lay your life down.
Yep.
And you have to serve one another. Ephesians 5, Paul says, he says to the husbands, which I always thought was brilliant, love your wives as you love your own body. Okay. He didn't say that to the women, which I thought was interesting, right? Because I can't figure women out. They're stunning, right? You ladies are stunning, but then Tam can walk by the mirror and be like, "Oh, I hate this about you," right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm chunky, I'm huggy. That's what I like to say. I'm huggy. There's hair growing in places it's not supposed to grow, and you still walk by the mirror and be like, "Oh yeah," you know what I'm saying? There's just the Lord knows. So we're supposed to lay our lives down and love each other as we love ourselves. And that's my encouragement. And man, you guys are helping so many people have these realities through the book, through the podcast, just through living your life. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for caring to offer it and not disqualifying what you have to offer. It matters. It's big. It's awesome.
So we got to lay our lives down, Tor.
Thank you.
I'm going to need you to start laying your life down. You go first. And then
That's
I'll
right.
go.
Ladies first. That's right. We want to be respectful. That's right.
Did you have anything else you wanted to share, either one of you, before we break this? Tamsey?
I'll just tag on to what he said and say humility is so key. There were a few years ago, I feel like the Lord just showed me, if you can be humble, like you can do anything,
Yes.
Humility is the key to this faith that we're living out.
That's good.
Wow.
It's the key to relationships. Honestly, your relationship with your spouse, with your kids, just be humble.
Wow.
Like, do not think more highly of yourself than you ought, again, and it's the whole thing of lay your life down,
Wow.
make the other person the most important person, like even more important than yourself.
Wow.
You know what I love? Dr. John Gottman wrote this book called The 7 Principles That Make Marriage Work. And this guy's like the foremost leading marriage psychologist in the world, has been studying marriages for over 50 years. Like he would literally put people in a research lab that was set up as a living room and just make them live there for a week.
Oh my gosh.
And they'd be mic'd up. They'd be cameras and everything, during the daylight hours. Yeah. And he just watched them, and he watched them interact. And he did that with like thousands of couples. And one of the things that he talks about is the proper responding to bids. So he said, as couples, we make bids on a consistent basis. And a bid could be something like, I put on this new shirt and I'm like, hey, Tor, what do you think about this? Well, that's a small bid. Now, how she responds to that is very important, right? She doesn't have to lie and say, oh, it looks great. She can say, it's not my favorite shirt, but man, it looks good on you, whatever it is. Or if I pass her in the kitchen and I reach my hand out and kind of put it around her waist or whatever. Now, how she responds to that, what Dr. John Gottman found was all couples make bids. All husbands make bids and all wives make bids. He said the couples that make it and that are the most happy and fulfilled are the ones who respond to the bids favorably.
Wow.
So now I say that to say this. I have watched you two this whole time. And Nathan, I've seen you talk and put your hand over to Tamsey and she responds to it and grabs your hand. And then Tamsey, I've seen you talking and you probably did it subconsciously. Yeah. Where you reach over and you start talking to Nathan and Nathan then grabs your hands and you guys are just constantly, what's happening right there subconsciously, you're making bids to each other and you're responding to those bids in a very powerful way.
Wow.
And I want to encourage couples that listen to this, don't be scared to make a bid to your spouse.
It's awesome.
It's very easy to share your deepest fears and concerns and that type of thing. Do you know, though, it takes another level of intimacy to share your deepest desires.
So true.
And to show it. To be like, honey, I just need a hug. Come here.
Yeah.
Like, who else are you going to say that to?
Right.
Right.
One of your kids, obviously, but then what if she's like, I'm a little busy right now. I can't really do that. And we think, no, she'd never say that. But in terms of me reaching my hand out, and what if Tori turned it away, or what if she's feeling too busy, or what if in that moment she's not real happy and she doesn't want to hold my hand? Well, then how would I take that? Dr. John Gottman says if you do that long enough, your marriage will break.
Wow.
So the whole bid thing is really good.
I love that.
It feels like rejection, and it's
it
sometimes
does.
very, very subconscious, and people don't even realize. But before long, they're living in this this rejected state.
Yeah. And if you're like Nathan, you're making bids all the time. Right?
That's what I do.
He's the needy partner.
Yeah, you better believe it.
All the time.
all the time. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna close with would you rather?
Would you rather? We got to ask
All
it
right,
to
we're
you
asking
guys.
you
I love
guys.
it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Would you rather swallow a handful of live worms or sleep on a fire ant colony for a night?
Oh my God.
Oh, that's easy.
I feel like
Give me the worms.
Worms,
Give
because
me
it's
the
over
worms.
faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, could you even imagine sleeping on fire ant
That
cones?
is-
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
torture.
Yeah.
See, I was wanting them to give them our standard, the one that we give everybody. So
which one's that?
would you rather have fish eyes or hot dog fingers?
Fish eyes or hot dog fingers. That's very.
Oh,
This says a lot about you. How you answer this says everything. I'm just kidding.
like,
Give me the
wait a
fish
second.
eyes. Give me the fish eyes. I'm going fish
Very
eyes.
potent.
I have no idea. I can't even imagine either one.
I feel like it would be better to have fingers that you can like hide, put in your pocket.
your
than
pockets.
These eyes that everybody.
They're
that's
right
the
there
first
on your
thing
face.
that
I
you
play
see.
guitar though, and so just
okay.
you can't hot dogs. You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem. Come on,
Put gloves
that's
on.
not right.
That's a real problem.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
an issue.
I don't know.
The fun of this is watching you guys have to try to think through
I know
it.
Tamsey's sitting here like the deepest thought.
Yeah, this is us. That's true. Yeah. Tomorrow she'll call you and be like, I was really
She's
thinking
so
about
afraid
it.
Yeah.
of making the wrong decision.
Oh my gosh, because I'm a one.
She's a 1. I'm with you. Okay, so Tamsey's bowing out. Okay, she's not going to answer it. All right, thanks for hanging out with
Yeah,
us. Hey
thank you
guys,
guys
seriously,
so much. This
you guys
was
are
so
awesome.
fun.
Thank you. You
Thank
guys are
you.
awesome. Thanks so much
So
for having
grateful.
us. This has really been a delight.
Oh,
this
we've
is
loved
fantastic. And for those of you listening, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. Hey, listen, share out this podcast with Nathan and Tamsey. Anytime we have guests, it's always an awesome opportunity for Tori and I to hear a different perspective.
Yep.
And we always want you guys to share out when our guests come in so that other of your friends can learn and benefit and grow. Where can we find you guys, by the way? Is it your podcast?
Yeah, it is. We and Tamsey's been on there recently, so that would be a
awesome.
great episode for you guys to check out. But yeah, thebestviewintown.com or nathanwesleysmith.com. I've got those.
it. Perfect.
Yep.
And when are you
Awesome.
going to start your podcast together?
We've been talking about that.
TBA.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be announced.
So-
We'll
Yep.
be waiting for it.
All right. Hey, we love you guys.
Yeah.
You as well.
Love you
Thank you
too.
guys.
Thank you guys. All right. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye bye.